Welcome to Nutrition News with Sandra, your RDN, where every week I have the pleasure of dishing out your daily dose, weekly dose of nutrition and wellness news for your mind and your body and your soul. And I hope that you are having a wonderful day so far. I hope you had a blessed weekend. And for those who are listening live, I thank you for tuning in live, taking some time out, hopefully eating lunch and listening to some news that will help move not only you, but your family forward as well. And for those who are listening to the replay, I thank you for pausing and taking time out, listening to informative information that will again help you and your family as well. And we are continuing on our series here, the Summertime Madness. So in June, it is all about the Summertime Madness and how that shakeup, that hustle and bustle is affecting your routine that you had for most of us during the school year or in the non-summer months. Our kids are out of school. That brings on a lot of change, a lot of shakeup, and such as vacations, family reunions, holidays like 4th of July, things like that. We have cruises, and usually it leads to stress eating or it leads to weight gain and it leads to us eating more things and different things that we might not normally eat because we're a little bit more relaxed. And so, how do we curtail the stress of eating and weight gain? And so, today we are going to talk about cruises. I kind of gave that away a little early. We're going to talk about how to enjoy cruises and keep your weight in check at the same time. Is that even possible? Absolutely, it is. So you stepping on the scale is probably the last thing you want to do when you return home from a cruise. All those late night meals, the desserts, the fruity drinks, the pizza, the hamburgers, the fries, all that stuff just adds up and they add on pounds, right? And so, some vacation statistics for you. The typical cruise passenger gains 1 pound a day on a voyage of 7 to 10 days. So, we're talking about on average 7 to 10 pounds. Now, granted, a lot of that is bloatedness and retention and all that. But after a few days, you kind of see really what you're dealing with. And so the good news is eating healthy on a cruise isn't an impossible task and you can still enjoy yourself as well. So today we're going to talk about 3 easy tips on how you can enjoy what's on the menu without necessarily adding on the pounds, okay? And as you are tuning in, please feel free to say hello to me, give me a shout out, say where you're tuning in from. Do you have a cruise lined up? And as you know, I love engagement. So chime in, post questions, comments, feedback, share an experience. We want this to come over as very interactive as possible because I'm here to help you. All right. And so a quick introduction for those who do not know me. My name is Sandra Goltry, and I am a registered dietitian, licensed nutritionist, and your accountability partner. And one of my missions is to show people how to get food to work for them instead of working against them or thinking that food is the enemy. I take much pride in adding a variety of different foods on a client's list. Basically, I like to remove the long list of foods that maybe you don't eat for various reasons and then put them back on because in many cases those foods are healthy, nutritious, and they serve a purpose. It's just a matter of understanding how to make that happen and make that work for you. And the goal is lose weight, rev up your metabolism, boost your energy levels without dieting and without deprivation and without fear. Okay. And so the goal is about building long term habits so that you lose weight. That's great. But what good is it if you gain it back? So that's what this is all about. Okay. Informing you, informing you. And so I like to do a poll. So let's do my poll question. Do you get on the scale after a cruise? So simple yes or no. Do you get on the scale after a cruise? And it doesn't matter if it's 3 days later or 7 days later. Do you even get on the scale? Okay. Or is that like the last thing you want to do when you come home from a cruise? All right. So let's jump on in. Let's talk about, so a typical, like we had talked about, typical cruise passenger gains about 1 pound a day on a voyage of 7 to 10 days. So I wanted to kind of recap that in case you just tuned in. And most of the pounds are packed on early in the voyage. Okay. So statistics show that more food is consumed in the first few days of a cruise, and then the passengers begin to slow down. I don't know if it's just tired, tired of all the food being around. I don't know. But the bottom line is a cruise, but a cruise is a food frenzy. I mean, you have having so many options. Okay. And so it's a challenge. It's a challenge, especially if you don't go on them often. And if you're in the self-control is challenging. Okay. So let's talk about that. So we want to mix it up. So let's talk about that. So for example, we want to mix up, let's say, having live it up with steak and all the fixing. Let's say that's your plan. You want to have a specialty dinner that night. And so having a sensible salad that includes a healthy mix of your carbs and proteins and fats at lunch or something like that. But you want to kind of mix up your meals between heavy and light. Okay. So that's kind of one of the first tips that we want to talk about. And maybe the plan is to go all out with the pancakes and bacon breakfast or something like that. And we'll order light and simple at lunch. Okay. And at dinner, such as the grilled fish or the vegetables or a healthy starch, still have some kind of starch. Okay. Maybe skip the dessert, or because remember the pancakes is a dessert. And then if you want to pair splurging a meal with eating light the rest of the day, then you won't feel so bloated. Okay. By the time it's time to debark. Okay. You won't feel so stuffed. So you're on vacation, so it's okay to treat yourself, but you just don't want to overdo it at every single meal. So that's what we gotta take a little caution with. Okay. And so the question that I was going to post that I put up prior. Okay, so we were talking about mixing up heavy and light meals. You don't want to have heavy meals every single meal every time you eat. And so what do you look forward to most when you are on a cruise? Okay. Is it the drinks, whether it's alcoholic or non? Is it the dining experience? This is your opportunity. You don't have to cook. You can get pampered and get served. Or you prefer buffet. You want to control what you're eating, see what you're eating, grab how much you want, the desserts, or something else. Or maybe it's a combination of those things. So I'm curious. So post what do you enjoy about it? What is your experience as far as what do you look forward to most? Okay, for me, it's just doing nothing. You don't have to clean, you don't have to cook, you don't have to, So I enjoy having that little treat. All right, so we're gonna have some fun today. So I hope everyone by the end of this live will step aboard your next cruise in a different way, with a different type of swag, with a different type of level of knowledge, okay, than what you did in the past. Okay. So let's talk about limit your dining to actual meals. Okay. This is one way to save, because food is everywhere, right? I mean, you could eat all day till what? 2 a.m, right? So limit your dining to actual meals. So what does that mean? So this works really well with our first point about mixing up heavy and light meals. Okay. So have 3 meals a day. Okay. Starting out about 1 or 2 hours after you wake up, and then maybe pace it out about 5 hours, something like that, with dinner about 5 hours, after your lunch and things like that. So try to space it out, especially if you're not doing a lot of excursions or you're at sea and things like that. Satiety and enjoyment is key. Okay. So the concept of that 25, 25, 50 on your plate is a good approach here. So what I mean by that, the 25%, 25%, 50% is a quarter of your plate is the lean protein. Okay. Not 50%, but a quarter of your plate is the lean protein, the chicken, the fish, the steak, whatever that is. Another quarter of your plate is your starch, carbs. Yes. Have the potato, have the rice, have whatever it is that they are offering on that particular day. Macaroni and cheese, whatever it is. Okay. So have a fourth of your plate, the starch. Then have the remaining part of your plate, a combination of your vegetables and your fruit. Okay. And so for many, just depending on where you are in your walk of the healthy eating walk, for some people, fruit is all the dessert they need. They don't need anything else. So it just kind of depends on where you are in that department. But have your plate with the vegetables and the fruit. Okay. So, and then they have other opportunities to get fruit too. So especially if fresh fruit is available throughout the day and you have access to it, then you may not necessarily need to have it at a meal. So it just kind of depends. But having this mix will not only help you not feel deprived, but it will also help you to get some of your favorite things while you're still living it up. So you're still able to enjoy some of your foods as well, and pick some of those fun foods that maybe you wouldn't normally pick when you're not on vacation. And so most importantly, your plate is low calorie, high water, high nutrients. And then you still have some room for, okay, having something fun every now and then without your meals all three heavy, and you're still splurging. So it just kind of compounds when you're doing it all, when you're going all in like that. And the goal here is to limit, not eliminate, the between meal snacking. Okay, we want to limit that between meal snacking, and you're well on your way to coming home the same weight that you left. Okay, so really that's the goal that I set for people. Don't focus on losing weight if you know that you are weak in certain circumstances when you're on vacation or on a cruise. But if you can come back at the same weight, trust me, you ate more than weight loss calories. Okay, so you were able to indulge a little bit more than you would if you were at home. So that is one little trick that you can do. So post your thoughts on that. And also let's talk about what is your 25%, 25%, and 50% ratio. Okay. And so you have your starch, you have your protein, you have your veggies. So which one is your 25%? You know, which one are your two 25% and which one is your 50? Okay. So is your 50% the starch? Is your 50%, the veggies, or is your 50% the protein? That's really the way to answer that. And on the real, until you have been really versed on this, no one has this really going on as far as, okay, we're going to have that mix, but this comes with practice. Okay. And so let me know where you stand when you're putting your plate, and just kind of visualize how you normally put your plate together. Most people, I would say probably the protein, especially if carbs is something you're trying to intentionally restrict carbs, which we don't want to do that, but we want to make sure that we still have them in. Okay. And so that was that one right here. So what is your 25, 25, 50% ratio? So which one is the 50? All right. And so our next point I wanted to talk about is skip late night dining. Okay, so let's talk about skipping the late night dining, because that's when that pizza comes in and the ice cream comes in and stuff like that. So this one will likely hit below the belt for most of us, especially if we're staying up really late. But virtually every cruise has a late night or 24-hour food option, even if it's just room service. Okay. And so, and I think we all know about that, the pizza, right? The pizza extravaganza that happens. And so nothing good ever comes of eating pizza and a cheeseburger and fries at 1 a.m. Moderation, though. If you've planned for that, because maybe that's something that you all like to do or you like to do on a cruise, plan for it. Plan for that. And so if you want to eat healthy, then just say no, just say no to some of those after dinner meals or some of those after dinner snacking, and then just wake up earlier, ready to have breakfast. So that's another way. So I know there was a cruise I went on, and we actually, we all got a slice of pizza in before we kind of called it a night. So plan for that. If you know you want to do that, it's fun. It was kind of a thing that we did with our family. All right. And so, what is your late night food of choice when you're on a cruise? Okay. So, is it pizza or is it something else? Because I know they generally do have other options, but what is your option? So, I would like to hear that. I'd love to hear that. And share if you have a favorite cruise line that you like to go on too. So, put that out there as well. Maybe I'll get some tips on, because people are going back on cruises. So, that is kind of back in full effect. So, love to hear some of people's favorite cruise lines. So the takeaway message. So your best bet on cruises is to pay attention to your hunger and fullness cues. Okay. For some people, maybe you don't hear them as well as others, but that's the process of, we just got to wake up your metabolism. It has nothing to do with age. It's just a matter of waking up your metabolism. That's something that I work on with my clients one-on-one to make sure that they're able to learn those cues and to wake those cues back up. And so while eating, try not to multitask. Okay. Instead, savor the meal, enjoy the meal. Awareness is helpful because it's simply staying more mindful of your fullness, and it can help you to keep track of your portions, and they help you keep check and to avoid the stomach ache from overeating and all that kind of good stuff. So we want to make sure that we're in tune with what we're doing. And so here are some bonus tips. Here are some additional tips for you. Share your desserts. Let's say, hey, you want to have a dessert every night. You're on a cruise. You want to enjoy it. Split it instead of eating the whole thing. That's one way to share calories. That's one way to split the calories and save some calories. Opt for desserts labeled healthier. Some of them are labeled healthier, and they will let you know if they're on the lighter side. Get sauces and dressings on the sides. One thing I do like about cruises is that they do make things tailored to you, and in many cases, their portion sizes are more true to form to what the average typical adult would need. Okay, so it's because sometimes some people order 2 dishes and stuff like that, but in many cases, for especially if you're trying to lose weight or are concerned about keeping your weight in check, usually those are pretty good portion sizes, and it leaves room for other things if you just kind of stick to the meal that they have. And so instead of choosing a familiar option like French fries, look for something more creative. You're on a cruise, so try different things. They usually have depending on where the destination is, they'll have things on the menu from the uh, local country that you're at, and so take advantage of that. Your best bet on cruises is to pay attention to your hunger and fullness cues while you're eating. Try not to, like we talked about, try not to multitask. So I'm repeating that one again. Try not to multitask. And before going for seconds, if you're doing the buffet, wait a few minutes and ask yourself, are you really hungry, or are you just going back for seconds just because you can, or out of boredom, or maybe ate too fast. Okay, so you want to kind of be mindful of going back for seconds. That's usually when we get in trouble, when we go back for seconds. And again, remember, we want to pace things out because we want to have some of the fun foods and so forth. So make room for that instead of having it all in this one meal. Okay, and so you need do you need to get a head start? You need to get a head start on building healthier meals, knowing what that looks like, knowing what that feels like, or maybe getting some healthier eating ideas before you go on your cruise or any kind of vacation. If that is the case, I definitely encourage you and to download my free guide or my free 5-day meal plan. It's called Jumpstart Your Weight Loss and to Boost Your Energy Levels. So we have 5 days of meals, we have recipes galore. So breakfast, lunch, snacks, itemized grocery list, a prep guide. If you're not as kitchen savvy and you want to know what days to prep what and when, so you're not feeling like you're doing something every single day, then definitely take advantage of the prep guide. It's a good way to see the difference of how grabbing and going and planning and prepping can really save you during the week. And so that's one benefit. And like I said, this is 5 days of meal plans. And so this is a good opportunity to boost your energy levels. It doesn't take long. A good way to reduce the bloatedness, start losing a little weight, and start that process of waking up your metabolism and seeing what it feels like to eat regularly, and some just getting ideals, some good snack ideals and some good meal ideals. So definitely take advantage of that. Download it. It's free, complimentary to you. And this concludes what I have for today. And so post any questions, any comments, any feedback. I would love to hear that. And so I appreciate you tuning in for today's Nutrition Lunch and Learn. And I am Sandra, your RDN. And next week we will continue on the Summer Madness and how that impacts our routine. And we are going to come back, we're going to speak about how do you come back from a vacation and can still fit in your clothes. Okay, so this is a non-cruise, but of course they all apply. But come back from a vacation and still fit in your clothes. And so I'm going to give 5 simple tricks on how you do that. Okay, so thank you for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day and bless.